My opponents say education is important and money shouldn't be an issue. This is 100% true, but the more money we spend on education, the less we have to spend on other things. What about the terrorists? What about jobs, law enforcement, healthcare, and road work? Do these needs get put second on the list? Education is vitally important, but education can't save us from the terrorists and murderers of the world. No matter how much we favor education, you can't learn if you're dead. The Common Core is built on standards, but it's also built on lies. The cost of the Common Core totals to about $2.2 billion each year, $16 billion over 7 years. This was a government idea put out by the government and controlled by wealthy businessmen. The goal of it was to help standardize education across the nation, but with so many standards and different teachers, that is impossible. This generation of learners are guinea pigs. The Common Core hasn't been tested, so how does the government know it will work? Simple answer, they don't. And the states don't know if it will work. Why are they using it? Because the government promised the states funding if they adopted it. Finally, politicians are using education as a political stepping stone, addressing it and then dumping the issue as they go on to be bigger and better. Education isn't about education anymore. It has become a political topic for bureaucrats to discuss and drop like a hot potato. The government issues $4.35 billion to the state that adopts the Common Core. There's no proven evidence that the Common Core is more effective for students than the old way of teaching. Now, education is all about the money. Right now, it doesn't seem like much of a choice, adopting mediocre standards in exchange for $4.35 billion. As one teacher stated, education is one of the more politicized venues out there. Education can make or break a politician's career. Most likely, politicians are sticking with the status quo in order to save face. All politicians care about are their own careers. Have they actually read through the standards? I bet not, and with their actions come consequences. The consequence, in this case, being the next generation being programmed to think exactly the same. Abraham Lincoln was right. America can only be destroyed from the inner core.
My opponent may say that the Common Core dictates how the teachers have to teach, but I disagree. This doesn't state a specific curriculum that the teachers have to follow. It is a set of standards that guides what they teach. This proves that it doesn't tell them how to teach, but what to teach, which in fact is a huge difference. Therefore, even though my opponents may say that the Common Core dictates how they teach, it doesn't. It simply gives them an opening on what to teach. My opponent may also say that the standards in the core are too vague, but I disagree. The learning targets are made to be less strict and a lot looser for the teachers. This is very significant because it allows teachers to interpret the targets how they want and let them teach it in a variety of ways. Therefore, even though some may say that Common Core standards are too vague to teach, it isn't. It gives teachers the freedom to teach the standards in their own unique way.
As my teammates stated before, the Common Core should stay in schools nationally. The Common Core standards are a clear set of shared goals and expectation for the knowledge and skills students need in English, language arts, and mathematics at each grade level so they can be prepared to succeed in college, career, and life. Due to the fact that so many students are applying for college, the standards are set so high for a reason. They are to see who can actually jump to that bar and succeed. The goal is for every student to reach that bar. If that is accomplished, then the Common Core has succeeded in doing this job. The Common Core has been doing this job for the last 6 years. This is important for teachers, students, and parents to know. It connects students in their learning and is making data more comparable because all students are learning the same material. Connecting the students is very important because students learn more when they're in groups and they're collaborating more. When data can be more comparable, lots of schools can see what they can improve on. And if schools can see what they can improve on, then that will improve the teachers and that will end up helping students. It's like a domino effect that improves everyone's learning. It also allows students to explore the nonfiction part of literature. As experts have stated, with nonfiction, many students are learning about the real world and not made-up worlds. It is expanding the students' knowledge, and as we all know, knowledge is power. Who here in this room would like to graduate from high school? Basically everyone. The graduation rates have been on a steady incline since the Common Core has been set in place. In the 2008-2009 school year, The year before the Common Core was set in place, the graduation rate was 72.9%, which is quite high. NPR stated that in just 6 years, when schools changed the way that they teach, the graduation rate is 81%. This is an 8.1 increase. That is 8 more students graduating from college every year. That is a monumental change. And it'll just continue to get higher and higher. The BLS states that in 2013, the yearly income of a high school graduate was $30,000. The more graduates there are, the more people that are applying for jobs that have to be even more talented to get that same job spot as before. The Common Core is preparing all students for these problems that students may encounter during their life school. With so many graduates, they're getting more talented. For example, if there was a teacher who wanted a job in today, 2016, but in 10 years down the road, when there's more talented students, getting that same spot as a teacher is way more difficult. The students are getting more talented, and the Common Core is preparing students for that. I respect my opponents, Student Nana, very greatly. You're intelligent students with satisfying grades. But honestly, think about what they're saying for a minute. If we abolish the Common Core, the graduation rates will plummet, schools can teach whatever they want, and data's all over the place. Does anyone in this room want that to happen? Because if you do, you're kind of absurd. With the Common Core set in place, schools are teaching the same material, graduation rates will go skyrocketing, and data will be comparable. For example, let's see. Student A, as parents say, they don't like how the Common Core is teaching because it's not the way they got taught. For example, student A is learning something in math, and they can use their notes on the test. Student B is learning how they used to learn, but they can't use their notes on the test. Student A knows what they're doing, has their notes, and does good and understands. Student B, even though is not getting their notes, has no idea what they're doing. Would you rather have student A, which is getting their notes, but also understands what they're doing, or student B, who doesn't? I'm pretty sure we would all want student A. So with this Common Core set in place, we will make America the single most greatest nation in the history of this world. Marco Rubio.
They say that the Common Core the Common Core standardizes learning across the nation. But we disagree. The Common Core gives teachers too much room to teach and is too vague. They're confusing and there's too many of them. One teacher we interviewed stated, there's a lot of standards, so that's what I would change, the number of standards. Since there's a lot of standards, that means there are more variables. Having more variables means there are more ways to interpret these standards. The teachers don't know what to teach because the standards are too vague. Therefore, the Common Core gives teachers too much room and doesn't standardize the learning. The Common Core, my opponent may say the Common Core isn't too expensive, but looking at the price tag, it sure is. It's $16 billion over 7 years. Over 14 years, that cost would be $32 billion, enough to solve world hunger. Why should we be spending all this money on a new educational system when the old one works just fine? Instead, we could be paying our debt and saving hungry people. Why would you fix something that isn't broken? The whole cost of the Common Core is still unknown, but it's at least $2.2 billion a year. Therefore, the Common Core is too expensive for the United States to afford. Finally, my opponent may say that the Common Core works. However, there was no testing done to see if the Common Core actually does work. How does the government know it will increase the learning of students? They have no idea if it actually works. They're going along revising the standards every year. It's like a guess and check method. For example, when you use the guess and check in math, it takes forever and it's unreliable. Why would people want to continue using the core if it's still being revised? Then it's obviously not good enough for our education system. Therefore, the Common Core will not work in the United States.